Hello, hello, hello. So, first off, thank you guys for the awesome response to the last video. Didn't expect it to get as many views as it did, and I'm really happy to see people talking in the comments and kind of sharing their thoughts and opinions. And go right ahead and do the same thing on this one. I wanted to give a quick update on the situation with Activision Blizzard, which I am pretty much just calling them Activision at this point. They are no longer the company that we grew up with, we loved, we enjoyed. But some things have been happening, and if you've been paying attention to this at all, I'm sure you've already seen that they're losing a second financial exec this week with Amrita Ahuja. I think I'm saying that right. But so people are saying, oh, you know, everyone's jumping ship. The ship is going down, and you know, everybody's getting out. That may not actually be a bad thing. So this is something that I think it's important to recognize as far as like how corporate level decision making goes. With these people leaving, if you follow the history of Blizzard, there are some excellent documentaries on the history of Blizzard, from where it was founded as Silicon and Synapse way back in the 80s, following it all the way through the success of Warcraft and then StarCraft, Diablo, World of Warcraft, and kind of the development process. And throughout the whole thing, it's constantly they're talking about how Blizzard is a company for the developers to just explore their creative, you know, outlets and just really pour themselves into the games that they love, and they don't release products that aren't good. Well, obviously that has changed. So when did it change, though? And a lot of people say, oh, it changed right when Activision joined, but I don't think that's really true. Activision didn't really, I don't think, sink their hooks in until a few years later. And I think it's interesting, if you look at Amrita's profile on LinkedIn, she joined Blizzard in 2010 as one of their vice presidential strategic and business development analysts. So right around 2010 is when, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions, is when World of Warcraft really started to take a dump. I mean, coming out of Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm was a lot better of an expansion than people give it credit for. There were a lot of problems in Cataclysm. I played straight through the whole thing and enjoyed almost all of it. The major problems really came at the end with Dragon Soul. The first two halves of the expansion were fun. I really enjoyed them. The raids were fun. Firelands was absolutely amazing, and it's sad to see the bad overshadow the good. Dragon Soul was garbage, and Raid Finder was the beginning of the end for me, especially when it came to the quality of the game and how much time people wanted to put into it. And I just watched guild after guild just fall apart when Looking for Raid started to take over. So anyway, what does this mean for Blizzard with her leaving? This could actually be very positive in the long run, because throughout the history of things that I've been reading all sorts of articles throughout the years over the past few weeks, and I'm thinking about doing a kind of a bigger, longer video kind of explaining how Activision is they're an evil company, right? They're like the man, if that makes any sense. They have, for a long time, you know, they were one of the largest companies. It's not that they've never made good games. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, the Guitar Hero games, they have a bad history of not taking their titles and respecting them, though. If you look at how Tony Hawk was just bled dry, the Guitar Hero games were just bled dry. It's just like, it's a history like that. And I think for a very long time, we're actually looking at Blizzard as they're in on a larger scoop of the industry, because they were you know, one of the largest massive developers for a long time. And Blizzard, you know, with the success of World of Warcraft, well, here, think about it this way: Activision owns Candy Crush. So if you want to know the revenue model that they're trying to get out of Blizzard, it's Candy Crush, and it cares nothing for the developers, nothing for the community. It simply looks to create a system where the players give them as much money as possible. So at this point, there are still a lot of really good people at Blizzard. They've stepped away from their primary roles, and oh, who's the lead at Blizzard, the guy, co-founder,
Smooth transition.
Alan Adham. Alan Adham, if you don't know, is one of the co-founders of Blizzard. He was with the company at the beginning, and he departed the company, I think, 14, 15 years ago, something like that. He actually came back to the company, and he's currently there. This is a guy who, I mean, he was essential to the founding of the fantastic titles that we know and love. And between himself and Mike Morhaime and a couple of the other old school guys, Frank Pierce, they are the ones that built the company into what it is, and they are still with the company. So with the financial executives leaving, I think that's actually a pretty positive thing, because throughout the interviews and throughout the process of them getting more and more, taken over by Activision, the financial wing has taken more and more and more hold. When financial people start making decisions for creative companies, the creativity is very quickly squandered, generally speaking, because the financial people do not share the same passion. Their job is finance. That is their passion. That's fine. But in a company like Blizzard or any game developer, the second that money starts to take precedent over gamers, you will see a very sharp decline in focus and direction if left unchecked. And I think that's really the story of what's happened to Blizzard. So with the financial people leaving Blizzard, that could actually open up some space for for them hopefully to take back the positions of power in the company that they had. So I don't think it's completely hopeless. I really think that the people that are currently there getting kicked out or leaving of their own accord may not necessarily be as bad of a thing as people are kind of putting it. It's not a good situation right now. Like, Blizzard is in a really bad place, and deservedly so. I think the most important thing for the community right now is to not just let them go back to their old habits, though. We need to hold them to the utmost absolute pinnacle of what we want from them. And for a company that expected no less than greatness for itself, I don't think it's fair to expect anything less than greatness. So I don't think we should relent as far as what our expectations are. I don't think we should give them an inch. The trust has been broken, and people who are still holding on to Blizzard as this untouchable titan, you need to wake up, because it's not anymore. And this is coming from someone who, believe me, I love Blizzard. Let's see. So yeah, if Blizzard could turn around, I'd really appreciate that and enjoy it, because I want to love them. But I'm not willing to give up on principle to just say, oh, well, they used to be great, and I'll just love them anyway. So I think we can get the old Blizzard back, but the community really needs to come together and not let Activision have an inch. So let me know what you think. Put a comment down below, and if you really like what you saw, maybe leave a like and subscribe. So thank you. Until next time.